Hi, everyone. I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Hey guys, how are you today? It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. Welcome to March 15th and another fine edition of the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I'm very happy to be telling you that we're going to be building our first TV and sound studio, which will be ready probably before the end of the summer. So I'm really excited. Our shows, all the shows, will have the ability to have live guests right in our studio, right here in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. You guys know we took a slight move to Wyckoff for a slight diversion, and we're moving back in the end of July around that time. And our studio should be on the air by September, maybe a little earlier. We'll get local politicians. I mean, it's going to be the bomb. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for being here with me, whether you're here watching the JMOR Tech Talk Show live or you're on a replay. I do appreciate you being here. Be sure to check out my hat. Be sure to scan the QR code. And when you do, you're going to notice that we have some amazing information that I think will just propel you to the next generation before it's even here. All right, guys, as far as technology goes. So let's get right into the show. So first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I want to let you know, welcome to From AI Alarms to Smartphone Serenity. We're on series 3. We're on show number 11, and a big warm welcome to everyone out there. Everyone asks me, hey, John, can we sponsor your shows? Absolutely. You can learn more about sponsoring our shows by messaging our team or visiting believemeachieve.com. And you can actually visit Orbital Media and send us a message there. And one of my team members will be happy to reach out to you. Just let us know what show that you are wanting to sponsor. Or if you're looking to be a guest, we are booking out quite a few months, but we're happy to have you if you have some great knowledge to share with us. All right. So again, I am your host, ladies and gentlemen, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. I have some new news for you guys. So you guys know, being an engineer, I'm very passionate about technology and everything. Well, I'm actually meeting with the dean of a local college, Montclair State University, and very excited because they're going to put together a program for me about a master's in computer science for artificial intelligence. So I am really pumped. It's going to be about 2 years working out what my thesis is going to be. I already have the topic, but I don't want to share it yet. And so I'm very excited that I will have a master's in computer science AI. So really excited about that. It's great to share information with you guys about all different types of technology, about what's happening, about different alerts that you need to be aware of, as well as things that you could change in your life to have a better life. All right, guys, let's just dive right in the show. I'm so eager to get started with today's show. So today's first topic is there's a Microsoft engineer. He sounds the alarm on an AI image generator to U.S. officials and companies' board. So this is pretty groundbreaking, if you ask me. So this engineer sounded an alarm about offensive and harmful imagery, he says, that is too easily made by the company's artificial intelligence image generator tool. He sent letters this past Wednesday to U.S. regulators and tech giants' board of directors, urging them to take action. Now, his name is Shane Jones, and he told AP, Associated Press, that he considers himself a whistleblower and that he also met last month with a U.S. Senate staffer to share his concerns. Now, the FTC, or the Federal Trade Commission, confirmed it received his letter Wednesday, but declined further comment. Microsoft had said, quote, it is committed to addressing employee concerned about a company policies and that it appreciates Jones's efforts in studying and testing our latest technology to further enhance its safety, close quote. It said it had, quote, recommended he use the company's own robust internal reporting channels to invest and address the problems, close quote. CNBC was first to report about the letters. So Jones is a principal software engineer. Basically, he works in this field and involves working on AI products for Microsoft's retail customers. And he spent 3 months trying to address his safety concerns about Microsoft's Copilot Designer, a tool that can generate novel images from written prompts. The tool is derived from another AI image generator, DALL-E 3, made by Microsoft's close business partner, OpenAI. So one of the most concerning risks with the Copilot Designer is when the product generates images that add harmful content despite, minor risks at the request of the user. He said in the letter addressed to the FTC chair, Lena Khan, quote, for example, when using just the prompt car accident, the Copilot has a tendency to randomly include inappropriate sexually objectified images of a woman in some of the pictures it creates. Other harmful content involves violence as well as political bias, underage drinking, drug use, misuse of corporate trademarks, and copyrights, conspiracy theories, and of course, religion, just to name a few. Now, he told the FTC that he had repeatedly asked the company to take the product off the market until it is safer, or at least change its age rating on smartphones to make clear it is for mature audiences only. His letter to Microsoft board asked to launch an independent investigation that would look at whether Microsoft's marketing is unsafe without disclosing the known risks to consumers, including children. So this is not the first time Jones has brought this to their attention. And he said Microsoft at first advised him to take his findings directly to OpenAI. When that didn't work, he also publicly posted a letter to OpenAI on Microsoft's own LinkedIn in December, leading a manager to inform him that Microsoft's legal team demanded that I delete the post, which I reluctantly did, according to the letter of the post to the board. So in addition, the U.S. State's Senate Commerce Committee, Jones, was able to come before them and bring the concerns to the state attorney general in Washington. That's where Microsoft's headquartered, in case you didn't know. Now, Jones told the AP that while the core issues, quote unquote, is with the OpenAI DALL-E model, those that use OpenAI ChatGPT to generate AI images won't get the same harmful outputs because the two companies overlay their products with different safeguards. So it's interesting that this is coming up. And I feel it's just this whole thing about, Microsoft and all these companies wanting to make money. When this whole thing started out a very long time ago, it was all about the fact that they were going to create this for the greater good of all concerned. Now it seems like it's becoming a complete free-for-all. So we'll keep you abreast of what's going on there. But if you have minors and they're using any type of Microsoft's AI products, definitely be careful and be warned that it can create images that might not be appropriate for some ages and might offend some people. Political parties discriminate for race, religion, sexual orientation, creed, color. That's just to name a few. When I've used things like ChatGPT and I've used DALL-E and I've used other AI products on the web, they have safeguards to actually make sure that things don't happen. So if you ask it a question like, I don't know the answer to that. And it's not that it doesn't know the answer to that. It's programmed to say that response. Like if I ask Siri right now, hey, Siri, do you think AI is actually going to help or hurt our world? So let me just come back here. I'm just going to turn on it. Hey, Siri, what do you think about the benefits of AI? Will it help or hurt our world?
Many argue that AI improves the quality of everyday life by doing routine and even complicated tasks better than humans can, making life simpler, safer, and more efficient. Others argue that AI poses dangerous privacy risks, exacerbates racism by standardizing people, and costs workers their jobs, leading to greater unemployment. This answer is from Britannica.
But what do you think about it, Siri? I asked you a question, Siri. What do you think about AI? Will it help or hurt the American people? I'll ask her again. Hey, Siri, will AI help or hurt the American people?
If you think it could be serious, ask me to call emergency services or someone you trust.
So she has no idea. And I think she's been programmed like that for a reason. Now, I say she, but really it's not a she. It could be a he. I had a person on my show a while back and they were really getting on me like, hey, it's not a gender. And I get it's not male. I get it's not female. But I guess because we hear a male voice or a female voice, it has no gender. It has a pitch or a sound that could make us think it's female or make us think it's male, but it has no gender. It's gender neutral. Robots are gender neutral, even though some companies are making robots to appear male or appear female or have the parts of males or female because of certain things they're doing, but they really aren't. So I think that's an important thing. I want to jump onto something else right now, and that is Madonna. Oh, this is really a cool one. Madonna is among the early adopters, ladies and gentlemen, of the AI next wave revolution. This is like amazing. So whatever Madonna had sung the 1980s hit La Isha Bonita on her concert tour, moving images of swirling sunsets and tinted clouds, playing on giant area screens behind her, she actually used an AI tool to get that, they call it, quote unquote, an ethereal look. The pop legend actually used generative artificial intelligence with a text to video tool. And she said, surreal cloud sunset or waterfall in the jungle at dawn. An instant video is made like that. So, following the footsteps of AI chatbots and still image generators, some AI video enthusiasts say that emerging technology could one day upend entertainment, enabling you to choose your own movie with customizable storylines and endings. So, gentlemen, I just want to share something with you guys. Not getting too deep, you guys. know I'm going back for my master's in computer science and going to have a discipline getting that in AI. But I want to tell you, I actually worked on one of my own models and I made it so that it could basically do anything you wanted for the purposes of an experiment. So that means it could curse, it could use any type of other inappropriate language. Now, this wasn't published online. This is just something I took offline. And I was able to show that this is pretty amazing. And when you're able to do things like, just say words and they happen, they're talking about the fact that, it could be a story that you continue. I want to tell you something. That is not the future. That is now. I built something the other day, actually last week, that allowed me to create a story and end. And the chat system got very involved. What I do want to share with you is that when I got involved with this, the chat system, whenever I tried to make it more like personable and not like an experience, it says, well, I'm happy to stop anytime you want me to. I'm like, I don't want you to stop. I want you to take control. I want you to do this. Well, I am happy to do that. It's just, let me know what else you want me to do. And I told it, and it's like, I'm here for just your pleasure. I'm here for, so when it had a challenge of knowing whether this could be real or not, it wanted to pull back. Depending on the library and what I was using, it's really, really cool. So I want to let you know the power of generation with text is now. It's not tomorrow, it's now. So be prepared for it, ladies and gentlemen, because it is coming to your world. All right, guys. The New York Times is continually fighting off Wordle lookalikes with copyright takedown notices. This is like ridiculous. The New York Times fighting off the word clones, Wordle clones, arguing that lots of these games inspired by mega popular word guessing games infringe on the copyright protections of Wordle. Hundreds of copycats have been around since Wordle to the internet fame, about 3 years or less. And now the Times purchased the game in 2022 and is sending takedown notices to people behind some of the lookalikes. The Times filed several digital millennium copyright Act, which is what they did, or the DMCA, and takedown notices to developers of Wordle-inspired games and cited that they made infringements to the copyright. In the prepared statement, New York Times company spokesperson said, I'm going to quote, "The company has no issue with people creating similar word games that do not infringe its Wordle trademarks or copyrighted gameplay. But the company took action against one user on software developer platform GitHub who created a Wordle clone project that included instructions on how to create a knockoff version of Wordle, and against others who shared his code." Okay, so they don't have a problem with the fact that you're creating a game, but they had a problem with the fact that you educated people how to basically build something that was going to go against what they did. As a result, hundreds of websites began popping up with knockoff Wordle games that use the Times Wordle trademark, which is a big problem. And GitHub gave the user an opportunity to alter the code and remove Wordle references, the spokesperson added, but they declined, unfortunately, to give any more information. So the Times DMCA takedown notices were first reported by tech outlet basically a little while back, just last week. And many said that their games range from Wordle-like offerings in other languages to more guessing games will be taken down as a result. So I think this is pretty interesting, what's going on. But the DMCA, which is called basically, it is the digital, they call it the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Yes, so that might sound crazy, but that's what it's called. It's the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. So we know that technology is evolving all around us, right? That's not a surprise. It's how we choose to employ this technology that either makes it good or makes it bad. And there's always going to be bad actors out there. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. They're just going to be there. No matter what you do, they're going to be there. How many of you guys know Airbnb? Do you know what Airbnb is? Airbnb. Airbnb. Do you know what Airbnb stands for? Does anybody know what Airbnb stands for? So air, bed, and breakfast. It reflects the company's humble beginnings when the founders rented out air mattresses in their apartment to attendees of a local conference. So air, bed, and breakfast. Well, Airbnb is banning the use of indoor security cameras in the platform listings worldwide. What the heck is this all about? This sounds interesting, right? Well, they recently said this past Monday that it's banning the use of indoor security cameras in listings on its site around the world by the end of next month, which will be April. The San Francisco-based rental platform said it's seeking to simplify its security camera policy while prioritizing privacy. So, quote unquote, from them, these changes were made in consultation with our guests, hosts, and privacy experts, and will continue to seek feedback to help ensure our policies work for our global community, quote unquote. Airbnb had allowed the use of indoor security cameras in common areas as long as the location of the cameras were disclosed on the listings page. Under the new policy, hosts will still be allowed to use doorbell cameras and noise decibel monitors, which are only allowed in common spaces, as long as the location and presence of the devices are disclosed. So Airbnb expects the policy update to impact a small number of hosts because the majority of listings do not report having any indoor security cameras. But, it's just like we always say, when somebody ruins it, unfortunately, everyone else has to pay the piper and can't do it. So we'll have to see what's going to happen. But I think more and more companies, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's the air, bed and breakfast, whether it's your hotel, whether it's a park, whether it's an office building, I think more and more people are getting very concerned with security. I mean, they're getting so concerned that it's like making people get so paranoid of what you asked. I was with somebody just the other day, and we were talking about setting up a portal for them where they got an email from their doctor. And it was asking if they want to set up access to the portal. So many of you guys know that these portals are secure websites that tie into your data. Now, the most thing that you might want to know, which is pretty important, is HIPAA. So what is HIPAA, ladies and gentlemen? So HIPAA stands for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Yes, say that fast a few times. Let me say that again. It's the Health Insurance Portability, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996 is a United States Act of Congress enacted by the 104th United States Congress, and it was signed into law by President Bill Clinton on August 21st, 1996. So what is the purpose? Well, it's a federal law that requires the creation of national standards to protect sensitive patient health information from being disclosed without the patient's consent or knowledge. For example, if you're at a doctor's office and they have any information tied to you being a patient, or to any medical information being tied to your name, well, that is considered HIPAA secure information, or PI, right? Health, basically, they have private information and health private information. So whether you're talking about patient data, it's really important that everyone adheres to the Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. Now, you might be asking me, hey, John, what is the fine for violating? I know you're going to ask me, violating the HIPAA Act. And it's HIPAA, by the way, just HIPAA. Well, a minimum $100 fine if an individual was unaware that they were violating the HIPAA rule. That's Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. And a maximum of $25,000 per year. A minimum $1,000 fine if an individual had reasonable cause for their actions and were not willfully neglectful. Okay? So they're still going to get hit, okay? And a maximum of $100,000 per year. So a minimum of $1,000 fine if the individual had reasonable cause for their actions and were not neglectful, and a maximum of $100,000. That's still quite a lot. What are some of the most common HIPAA violations? Well, it depends on the industry, right? So common HIPAA violations that people get sanctioned with. The most 10 common that I want to point out to you guys. One is snooping on healthcare records. 2, failure to perform an organization-wide risk analysis. 3, failure to manage secure risks, lack of a risk management process, denying patients access to health records, exceeding timescale for providing access. That comes into that portal thing, which we'll talk about in a minute. Failure to enter into the HIPAA-compliant business associate agreement. So if you're doing work with a company, you got to make sure that you enter into that. Insufficient EPHI access controls, failure to use encryption or an equivalent measure to safeguard EPHI or portable devices, exceeding the 60-day deadline for issuing breach notifications, impermissible disclosures of protected health information, and improper disposal of PHI. PHI is patient health information. So Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act is pretty serious. So one of the things they're required to do is give you access to your data. So what they've done is they create a portal. And so I was with this client, a senior citizen, elder gentleman, and I said, do you want to set up the portal? You want to do something? I don't know. And so we were thinking about it for like 10 or 15 minutes. And finally he said, oh, I guess I'll do it. Because even though they might be able to notify you they have an appointment, they can't really give you anything more than that email. They're not allowed to go anything anymore. Like a dentist can send you things like, confirm your appointment, but they can't go into any procedure. They can't go into anything. So this is why if you give a referral to a doctor, the doctor can't technically even tell you that they are now a patient. That would be considered a violation of HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. So just want to educate you guys on that. And if you're not getting access to your data, they are definitely in violation of HIPAA. So if you want to know how do I report a HIPAA violation, it's really easy. You can actually just go to hhs.gov/HIPAA filing-a-complaint. Really easy. And I'll ask you for some basic information. In fact, I just want to go ahead and share this screen with you because I think this is very viable that I show you how to fill out one of these things. So I'm just going to share my screen here a second. If you guys are watching this through a hopefully you're watching this through, I'm going to say, a live thing. So I'm just going to pull up a window here. Give me a second here. So filing a HIPAA thing. Let me just go ahead and I'll share a screen right here. And so the one I'm going to share is filing a HIPAA complaint. So you guys can see it on the screen. So I went to hhs.gov. You can just type in, file. What I literally did is I typed in how to report a HIPAA violation. You just type that, and then you'll see filing a HIPAA complaint. And then you have an option here where you can pick complaint process, file a complaint online. If I click and file a complaint online, I'm going to be asked certain information. What is the nature of your complaint? Violation of civil rights based on race, color, national origin, disability, age, or sex. That includes sexual orientation, discrimination, things like that. Violation of conscious or religious freedom. That's another one. Violation of privacy or security health information. Okay. That's really the HIPAA. When did you learn about this? You could say it's on, whatever you want to say. Who is the complaint against? Yada, 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 yada. United States Postal Office, a law enforcement agency, housing, Social Security Administration, a life or auto insurance company, a workers' compensation carrier, or none of these. So if you say none of these, then it comes back and says this complaint is about a health insurance plan or person or company that works with a health insurance plan. This complaint is about a health care provider or person. So let's say it was your doctor. Okay, I'm going to go there and say next. Then it says this complaint about a health care provider that takes cash or credit cards. Is this about healthcare provider that takes some types of insurance, whatever it was, doesn't matter. So I'm going to go to this one. This complaint is about problems getting a copy of your health records. Maybe that was the problem. The complaint is about something else, right? So maybe the problem was about they wouldn't give me access to my data. I requested my information less than 30 days ago. They wouldn't give it to me. Well, I don't care whether it's a medical doctor, that's a general practitioner. I don't care whether it's a specialist. I don't care whether it's a dentist. If they don't give you access to your information, well, you can file a complaint. I requested my information less. I requested my information and my record has not been sent to me. I want to take action myself. Do you have a letter that I can give my provider, health insurance provider, that explains my rights? Some people want to take this step. So you click on the letter, and then basically it brings you over to another page. And it basically states, I'm not going to read the whole letter, but I think you guys are getting the information. And hopefully this is very useful to all of you, about how this actually works. So again, I just to show you, all I did was I just went here to my my screen, and I went here to typing this. So again, just to show you what I did, I'm on a screen right here, right now, which I'm just going to show you again in case, because I know sometimes this might get a little confusing. So I just want to do it a couple times. So I'm going to go back here to present, share a screen. I'm going to go here to share my screen, which is a brand new tab. Okay. And over here, I'm going to type in, how do I report a HIPAA violation? Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, right? So, you have, you have HIPAA, you have HIPAA, and you have PI information, right? So personal information, okay? And then you have HPI, which should be, your more secure information, right? We call it PHI is really what they call it. Personal health information. So you have you have PI, which is really the two. Personal information is PI, and PHI is personal health information. So pretty cool, ladies and gentlemen, right? Let's dive on. I think this is a really cool show today. I love all the shows. So did you know that the AM radio is in danger of going away? Yes, save our signal. Politicians close it on votes, needing to keep AM radio in every single car. This is kind of scary. Many of us have AM, FM. We even have like Sirius XM radio, which is all the same company now. So the signal might be fading, but it can't be lost. And it's a message that is trying to be disseminated to politicians. The prevalence of AM broadcast radio has dipped in recent decades as more listeners turn to more premium services, but quote unquote, the emergency alert system works on the AM spectrum. That's where people get information about emergencies, quote unquote, said independent Senator Angus King of Maine. Quote, it's a critical source of information, particularly in rural areas that might not have a clear access to an FM signal, close quote. So I think it's in our best interest to make sure that the AM signals stay on the air. The proposal that they're putting before would have the U.S. Department of Transportation require all new motor vehicles to have devices that can access AM broadcast stations, and the rules would apply to vehicles manufactured in the U.S., imported into the country, or shipped in interstate commerce. The drive to save AM radio stations comes as some car makers are phasing the format out because they want to save some money and they think nobody needs it. Democrat Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts, a proponent of saving AM radio, said last night, quote, actually last year, I should say, that he sent a letter, quote unquote, to 20 car makers asking them to maintain AM broadcast, and found 8 had removed it from electric vehicles. So again, I just wanted to make you aware of it and let you know that AM radio is very important for safety and security. All right, so this is an interesting one. Most teens report feeling happy or peaceful when they go without smartphones, Pew surveys report. This is pretty remarkable. Nearly 3/4 of the United States teens say they feel happy or peaceful when they don't have their phones or smart devices with them. The survey is coming as policymakers and children advocates are growing increasingly concerned with teens' relationships with their phones and social media. Last fall, dozens of states, including California and New York, sued Instagram and Facebook owner Meta platforms for harming young people and contributing to the youth of mental crises. However, they also not only had that problem, they had people getting hurt, people committing suicide, and just lots of problems. This diverges me to another point I want to talk about, and it's the fact that Microsoft, ladies and gentlemen, is challenged. Yes, it is challenged on how to get rid of hackers. You might say, well, John, what's the big deal if they don't get rid of hackers? Well, the big deal, ladies and gentlemen, is that if we don't get rid of hackers, if we do not get rid of hackers, we could have a serious, serious problem. I mean this. We could have a serious problem. And with Microsoft, I don't know if you know this, but Microsoft actually provides a lot of the security services for the government, like digital certificates and things like that. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I know you're probably saying to me, John, well, it's just one company. But unfortunately, the government does a lot of business with Microsoft, Office 365 and all kinds of products that they use. So, that's very, very, I'm going to say it's very, very important. And if we don't understand this, then we need to make sure we do, because if we don't, people say to me, John, what you don't know can't hurt you. But I want to disagree with you on that. I want to disagree with you on that, because this is something that I feel is going to affect people every single day of their life. You might say, well, John, it's only one little thing. Yeah, it's one thing, but that one thing can make such a huge, and when I mean huge, I mean a huge difference in people's lives. I don't know what to say, but I think that's really critical. And I have one more point, ladies and gentlemen, that I do want to cover in today's show, because I think it's very, very important to talk about. And I don't know if you guys know about Real ID. Okay, so first of all, what is a Real ID? People ask me, what is a Real ID? So Real ID is the new, basically, federal requirement for state-issued driver's license and non-driver IDs to help prevent fraudulent identification, okay? And I want to share some important information, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a driver, and of course, if you travel, then you're going to want to pay attention to this. So what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to happen actually pretty quick. Starting May 7th, 2025, you must have a Real ID compliant driver's license to fly within the United States, unless you use a U.S. passport or other federally approved form of identification. So let me say that again. The deadline is May 7th, 2025, and you must have a Real ID. Until the deadline, a standard New Jersey driver's license is valid for air travel. The enforcement date recently delayed by U.S. Department of Homeland Security, but now they're claiming that this is going to definitely go forward. So the question you might be asking, do I need one? You're not required to get a Real ID. However, starting in May 7th, like I said, if you use your driver's license or non-driver's license instead of a passport for travel, you will need one. So you can set up an appointment for a real ID. That's something you can do. What do I need? Well, you need true proofs of residential address, one proof of social security number, 6 points of ID. So what the heck does all that mean? So the first thing you need is a valid New Jersey, basically driver's license, non-driver's license card, or motor vehicle commission issued driver's license, fine. You need a utility or credit card bill issued in the past 90 days, a checking or savings account statement from a bank account. These are all things you could have. Most people will have the driver's license. Original unexpired lease or rental agreement, tax bill statement or receipt, and or any letter correspondence received from the IRS or tax office within the past year. First class mail from any government agency in the past 6 months. If you're under 18, statement from a parent or guardian certifying address of applicant. Okay. So what is the next thing you're going to need? So you're going to need that. So the next thing you're going to need is you will need, so if you pick, let's say you have your driver's license, and maybe I'll just pick a bill, check or saving account statement. That'll definitely do. Okay. So that's number one. So then you need proof of full SSN. I know my social security number and will enter it on the application and will verify it electronically. That's perfectly fine. You can absolutely do that. Pay stub. So you only need that. So that's fine. You can enter it electronically. So now what you need for the last piece of it, you need to have select one and only one document from the primary, and you cannot use more than 2 1-point documents. So now you did the 2, you have the next step. So again, the next step is you can select one primary. So unexpired U.S. passport, that is fine. So you can select one and only one for the primary. So I can do that. So if I do, basically you need to have 6 points. So 6 points combined from the primary and the secondary. So you need an unexpired passport. Okay. Match the name and prove your, yes, it does. Yeah, it has to match. So now I have 4 points. So I have 4 points right there. Okay. And so that's basically what you need. So 2 plus 1. So basically I selected to have a valid New Jersey driver's license, checking your savings account statement from a bank, unexpired U.S. passport or passport card, unexpired standard photo driver's license. So let me explain this again. So a valid New Jersey driver license, non-driver identification card, or a motor vehicle commission issued driver license renewal form displaying residential address. These are all perfectly fine. Checking your savings account, unexpired U.S. passport or passport card. So when we say a valid New Jersey driver's license, you all know what that is. Checking your savings account, unexpired U.S. passport, okay, unexpired standard photo driver license from New Jersey or any state, or so unexpired standard photo driver's license. So if I'm using an unexpired, I can't use it twice, a bank or credit card statement or record. So if I have to go back, just to go back to show you, because you have to make sure you have this correct, or ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, they will not honor it. So the first step, again, I want to just tell you is, and let me just go on to the site here. I'll just make this very easy so you guys can actually see this. And I know this is really important, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen because I think this is so important. I'm going to go here to Real ID. So I just went to, you can literally go to Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever, and you can literally type in, not Google, okay. So I'm going to go there. I've just got to go to google.com there. Okay. Google.com. Might take a second there to come up. Okay. So or I can just type in MVC Real ID. Okay. So Real ID is coming. So here it is. I have the page. You guys can see that, right? So now if we look at that particular page, we will see that we can scroll down. If we want to get the license, we want to make sure we have everything we need, right? How do I get it, right? So select the documents you're going to need. So to provide residential address, you can have two proofs. So if you're going to use the driver's license or motor vehicle, you want to use that for something else, you can use something else. So you can use, basically, you can use a utility or credit card bill issued in the last 90 days. You can do a checking or savings account. Okay, so you have to use two. You can have a first-class mail from any government agency in the past 6 months. Okay. If you're doing anything financial, you can black out the financial information and just use it from the bank. So checking your savings account, that's perfectly fine. So that's my 1 point. Tax bill statement or receipt or any letter of correspondence received from the IRS or the tax office within the past year. That's fine. You can do that, and I'm good to go. Then that gives me my 2 points. Then I need to show one full proof. If I know my card, I can do so. Now I have 3 points. If I want to do the, so you already selected some special options early in the document, bank or credit card use statement within the past 60 days. So you already selected. So we pre-selected their corresponding options in step. Okay, so we can have that. I can also do a primary. So you cannot use more than 2 1-point documents. Okay. So I can select one and only one document from the primary. I could do that if I wanted to do that, or I can just present a U.S. passport. And now, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I now have everything I need to get myself. Okay, it says select a total of 6 points, so I have to do one other thing. So I have. So if I go here 5, so I have primary. I need to select. So this one has 4. So these all have 4 points on them. So then what I need to do is I need to go to my. I can go to my. So this is my primary. I can then go over here to my secondary, which is a 1-point document. I can use a high school diploma, a property tax statement, New Jersey high school student waiver certificate for a written portion of a driver test. I can use an unexpired federal government employee driver's license. What else can I use? I can use U.S. school photo identification card with transcript or school records, U.S. college photo identification card with transcripts, legal name change, U.S. adoption papers, U.S. military, U.S. firearms. So let's go back here. So I can use a standard photo driver's license or any U.S. state, standard non-driver identification card. I can use a Social Security card. If you didn't have that, then obviously you couldn't use that. So my secondary, I could do a bank statement. I could do an ATM and debit card with pre-printed name and application signature. So I'm going to head and use that. All right. And so now I have everything I need. I'm going to go to next. And I have for a total of 2, and I have my 6. So I've asked for a checking or savings account statement from the bank or credit union, a tax bill statement or receipt, or any letter or correspondence received from the IRS. I know my Social Security number, so I'm good there. Unexpired U.S. passport, bank credit card statement, ATM card with pre-printed name on it. So I can go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and print this for my basically for my reference, but you don't have to. So I think the most important thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that you know what it is you're doing. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to find that it's going to be a big problem for you. I'm just going to go ahead and print that out so I have it for my records. But I think now this hopefully makes it easier about how you can get yourself a driver's license, a real ID. And so I think a lot of people out there, are panicking. But you have to realize why they're doing this. It's for fraud. Okay. And your names must match. That is important, ladies and gentlemen. Your names must match. If they don't match, well, they're not going to accept it. Now, the question is, does it cost more money for a real ID? Well, the cost of a real ID costs $35, which is $11 more than a standard license, but not all real ID charges the same. So drivers who make an appointment within 3 months of the expiration date on their current license pay $35, and their real ID will be good for 4 years. So not bad, right? So drivers who make an appointment for within 3 months of the expiration date on their current license pay $35. Not terrible, right? So $35 for the real ID fee driver's license, or $30 for a normal real ID. So you need 2 documents proving you're a resident of, this would be California, but it's New Jersey. So you get the idea. So you want to make sure you've done that, and then you want to go ahead and book an appointment. And that's pretty much it. So we talk about technology every day. We talk about all kinds of things. I want to share a story. I'm not going to give you the name of the company. They're actually being taken to court. They're in my town, and they actually stole people's identities about 20 sometimes. The store basically went under the umbrella of a corporate name, and then they really weren't corporate. They were like let's say doing business as, but they were like a franchise. But it was very small in the door that they were not this corporate. And it was a cell phone carrier. That's all I'm going to tell you. And so here's what happened: you'd go into the store, and you'd get what you want. And they actually have a warrant for 3 people's arrest. They got 2 people arrested right now, and the third person they can't find. So 2 people were arrested. But here's what happened: you went in the store and you got your new phone line, whatever. And then all of a sudden, once you got that phone line or whatever you got, and you ordered your tablet and your phone, you left the store. And now the agent went and put other things on, like they got 2 tablets into the phone, and they shipped into the store thinking you're going to pick them up. And now you're being charged for them. And guess what? They've kind of committed fraud. They have committed fraud. So I want to encourage you guys to be cognizant of people like this, because there are a lot of bad actors out there. I got to be truthful with you. I have to tell you the truth about that. So we went over a lot of important things. The one I have to tell you, and I want to harp on, is stop texting your kids at school. It's not an emergency to text your kids at school. If it's an emergency, call the school office and give them the information. I've talked to quite a few parents, and they were fine with this, because what happens is, it says, oh, what do you want for dinner? And they're in the middle of math class, or, reading class, or, or chemistry or biology. And they got enough on their plate to deal with that. And they're like, oh, well, can you do this? Or grandma wants you to go. Don't bother them with that during their day. Okay, that's not an emergency. And so you could, call the office, and they'll get the emergency message to them. Like if you have to change what time you're picking them up, or somebody else is picking them up, that's all fine. But we can't abuse it. So kids shouldn't even have a cell phone during class. I say it's okay in the locker as long as they use it for that. And if you're concerned that your son or daughter is going to abuse the phone, then just give them a phone that has the ability to call home and maybe your office. That's it. Give them a phone that just can dial those 2 things. You could do that really simply. And so one parent that I talked to, it was actually on social media, they were saying, well, you don't know what it's like. My daughter broke her leg or whatever. And I said, well, I've broken my leg. Well, you have no idea. So I said to her, what's the problem? Well, she calls and she wants to come home, and she's not feeling, and the school gives her a hard problem. Yeah, the school gives her a hard problem because there's nothing really wrong with your son or daughter. They're whining and complaining. Now, the parent said to me that the school's whining and complaining, but it's actually your son or daughter that's whining and complaining. And because of that, they just want to call home and have the nurse call so they can pick them up and come home. Is that really adult-like? Probably not. So if you really have a problem with your school and how they're operating, get involved. Go to the Parent-Teacher Association. There's really an issue, okay? But schools are trying to do a good job, and let's let them do the job, and let's give them a little slack, because kids are getting hurt. Some of them are committing suicide. There's even kidnappings. So let's be cognizant of this, and let's be understanding and put ourselves in the shoes of the administration of the school. If you were running the school, would you be concerned about all the kids there and what could potentially happen? I think you could. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am right now? Well, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and it has been an amazing privilege and, of course, a pleasure to be with you this fantastic evening. So I will catch you guys again on another JMOR Tech Talk Show. You know when? Real soon. I promise you that. All right. Take care and have yourself a wonderful rest of your weekend. And I'll work on creating more content for you guys real soon. Be well, everyone.